Hey everyone, and welcome to the Ghost Biker Garage. I'm your host, the Ghost Biker, and I've got a great show tonight. We'll get to that here in just a few minutes, but I wanted to take a few minutes and come on here and thank everyone that came out to this past weekend's big Harold Young Memorial Scholarship Dart Run. We had a great turnout. We raised a little over $1,000, and we're still taking donations. If you didn't make it to the event, we're actually still taking donations, and I have the address and the information where those can be sent. But we're just so grateful and so thankful that we had such a good turnout. I believe we had 31 bikes for the event, and a lot of people had a lot of fun playing darts, raising money for a good cause. So we've got a video posted online that shows highlights from the event. And if you haven't seen that already, I hope you'll go and check that out. But I want to say hello to a few people that have tuned in here. Hello, Vicki. Hello, Garrett. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. If you have any questions for tonight's guest, all you need to do is just go ahead and put those in the comments. I do suggest that you guys pull out your headphones because we've got some great EVP evidence that my guest has captured that he's going to be highlighting tonight, as well as highlighting in his upcoming documentary. So as you can see, the scenery behind me is just a little bit different. I'm actually on location tonight at my mom's house. I'm in town for the big event that I've got going on this weekend, the third annual RM Brooks bike event, and we are actually hosting a ride that we'll be going to. It's the third annual Haunting Ride with Ghost Biker, which we'll talk a little bit about here after the show. So if you want more information on that, go on, check out the event page, and it actually tells where the start will be, has the map shown up there. And like I said, we'll get into that in a little bit. But I want to go ahead and pull my guest on so that we can get started, because he's brought some really great things to share with us and to highlight. So again, if you've got some headphones near you, you're going to want to pull those up so that you can hear this really well. But I hope you will help me in welcoming my guest, David Flowers. Hey, David.
Hi, Miranda.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me on. I'm really excited to be here. Thank you.
Absolutely. So we've got the chat room going. I don't know if you can see that, but we've got the chat room going, and some people may ask some questions. So what I'm going to do is I'll highlight their comments up on the screen as they come in, but we'll hold the questions until you're actually ready. If you're talking, we won't interrupt you and everything to get into those. So if you will, go ahead and maybe tell us a little bit about who you are and how you got started.
Yeah, my name's David Flowers. I've been around the paranormal and ghost my entire life. My great-grandfather would tell us stories of the Bell Witch. He's from the Tennessee area, northeast of Nashville. Yes. So I've got roots in your neck of the woods as well.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. I'm very familiar with the Bell Witch.
Yeah, so ghost stories always in my history. My great-grandmother and my grandmother, my mom would always take us to old historical homes, and we'd walk through the historical homes all together as a family, and it's just a really good memory of things. I would always try to kind of lag behind the tour and try and be alone in the house, even as a kid, to try and just to see if I can feel anything. So it started early. I have some pictures I threw in there of Oak Alley was one that we went to, and the Nottoway Plantation. And then having roots in Tennessee as well, we'd go and visit my aunt in Tennessee and see a lot of the historical homes there as well. And the idea of that spirit still being here with you is part of my family has always had. My mom would always say, well, it's somebody in your family. Uncle Charlie. That's who always was hanging out with my mom. But it was always obvious and always expected. It's ghosts are everywhere.
So your family is very open.
very open to that. Very open to that. And then as I grew up and I grew older, into my teens, I started pursuing those kind of houses, haunted locations myself. My dad lived in California for a little while, so we went to the Winchester Mystery House when I was about 16. And again, it just one after another things as I'm growing up just perpetuated, continuing the paranormal and ghosts as I go through. And we lived, my sister and I lived, I was about 7, and we lived in a house that my uncle owned. In between transitions, we were building another house, and my sister would always lay on the floor because she wanted to hear the people talking in the living room, and I'm like, you're just trying to scare me. So one time when she wasn't there, I decided I was going to lay on the floor, and she was at a friend's house, and I saw a woman in a yellow dress with her hair pulled back, and I knew I wasn't dreaming. You know, it was like that first moment when you realize that that's real. This is not a dream. This is really happening. And then later on, years later, I mentioned that to my sister, and she was like, "Oh yeah, the woman with the yellow dress. I used to see her all the time." So it was like those kind of confirmations would happen throughout life that were like, this is the way it is.
Right.
Incredible. So go ahead.
Go ahead. Oh, go ahead. I was just going to ask if you or your sister have any spiritual gifts or abilities.
We both try at a young age would try and not really to outdo each other, but we're like, hey, what do you feel? Hey, what are you feeling in this place? And yeah, so and she's with that way with her children too. She'll take them to paranormal locations. Let's work on our abilities. Let's see what we can feel. And it's nicer to be open and like have it out in the open than be like, well, questioning it.
Right. Exactly.
So after that, once we started getting to where we could drive and we'd go to locations, my sister and I started going to New Orleans and revisiting some of the places that my sister, my mom, and my grandparents would take us to ourselves, and staying in haunted locations in New Orleans. Mostly, we really liked New Orleans a lot. Still go there sometimes for planning a trip for her birthday.
Nice. So. Yeah, I love New Orleans. So much history, and so you all aren't really too far from New Orleans, are you?
We're really not. And we used to live in Houston, which once you get on I-10 and just go straight, you're there in no time. I think it's like 5.5 hours, maybe not even that.
Wow, that's not bad at all. It's closer than I am.
Right. It's fun. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So then when I was about after graduating, I went to Texas State, anthropology, studied historical archaeology and the Mayan. And after that, my daughter, Deva, she was about 8 or 9, and she's in the videos. She went with me, so she'll be in all the evidence. She's there. And the documentary that I'm putting together about the Magnolia, she's in it. So when she was 9, she came to live with me. And when you're a single dad, there's not a lot of time and a lot of extra money to be buying paranormal equipment and going off on expensive trips, and bed and breakfast and all that stuff. So I put a lot of that on the back burner. And also, you don't know exactly what you might be bringing back to your house when you got kids. I got this cool shirt, my very first Ouija board. It's funny. But you really should be careful about what you bring into your home when you got kids.
Exactly.
So I didn't really go to any paranormal sites or do much when I was raising Deva. But she graduated. The pandemic, they say, changed everything, and it really did change a lot for me. Deva graduated last year in the middle of the pandemic, graduated high school. She really worked hard and graduated a semester early, but then none of her none of the people that she graduated with went back anyway, because they are all canceled for the pandemic. But she got scholarships. I'm so proud of my daughter. She got scholarships to go to UT honors program for the entire full run scholarship.
Very cool.
Junior ROTC. So she went to the dorms. She's living in the dorms. I moved out of the house that we've had in San Marcos that I've been working so hard to pay rent to take care of my daughter. You know, it was like empty nest syndrome, like all of a sudden with the pandemic, like right on top of it. So, but everything happens for a reason. It was perfect timing. My parents really needed me. My dad's been put on hospice, so I moved back in with them, and all of a sudden I have a lot of extra time.
Right.
and I can do a whole bunch of other things that when you're so busy, you just put it back on the back burner. You don't do it. So everybody had been talking about the Magnolia Hotel, and I was like, this is, you know, you watch all the paranormal shows and you watch how people do things, and you're like, I would have done maybe something a little bit different. But until you're in the situation, you're like, I have to do it myself. I'm
Yes.
going to do it myself. I'm going to find my own evidence, and then I'll believe this is not fake. You know, that happened for real. This happened for real. And until you do it yourself, that's it. So everybody's talking about the Magnolia Hotel, and I got some equipment together, and I decided that this is going to be it. You know, I'm going to do it the right way, and I'm going to film as much as I can, get as much evidence as I can. And if nothing happens, then it'd be a good way to like scrapbook the whole experience anyway.
Absolutely.
You know? And so let's see. Let's talk about history of Magnolia.
Sure. You just let me know what to pull up. So I just want to tell everyone, David sent me some amazing pictures and clips, and for some reason my computer is not allowing me to share. So I'm able to share the video, but I may be a little clunky getting started here. So you just walk me through it, and we will get the stuff pulled up.
Okay. The teaser that you had up earlier, we could start with that. This has got a little bit of the evidence that we've gotten. I kind of put together as a teaser of what's to come in the documentary, and you'll see Deva, my daughter, she's in there. And it's a good way to start. You got some pictures of the Magnolia and everything.
Okay, and I will also go ahead and pull the website up so that we've got the pictures, because you sent some great pictures, so I'll get that pulled up while this is rolling.
Thank you.
I'm definitely hearing voices. Oh, I'm getting chills. Hello? Are you here? I think they remember us. Hey, David.
Hi.
What was that?
Sound like you said Deva. It's my name.
Talk to me?
Hooray!
Hey, very nice.
I'm not sure if the audio was really low on yours, if you could hear it very well.
It was a little bit low.
It was low?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's a problem with EVPs sometimes, is they don't translate sometimes over the internet, like you just kind of get lost in the volume and stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we've had an amazing time. The history of the Magnolia, in the list, you can just kind of start going there. There you go. In 1846, no, before that, 1836. It was given to Joseph Campbell, and he was a big part of the Texas freedom fight again from Texas-American War, and they were also still fighting the Comanches. Like, they're still Indians that were in this area. So he was kind of like the outpost, and they put a 2-room log cabin out there, basically in the middle of nowhere, to fortify, like a fortress, close to the town of Seguin that they were trying to build. Then later on, the Indian raids got so bad that they dug a basement underneath the 2-room cabin so that they could be more protected by when the Indians came to try and kill them. It was really pioneer out there. So then later on, the 2-room cabin got added onto, and in the 1850s, it was then turned into a 2-room apartment type hotel. They had Stagecoach, which I think the Stagecoach kind of added to the deaths that were happening. There were lots of deaths that happened in the hotel, not only just being such a rugged environment in that time period, but the Stagecoach, people kind of showed up. You don't know who they were. They check in as John Doe. Mm-hmm. They check out as John Doe. They could, gambling and end up killing somebody and jump on the Stagecoach and be gone. So lots of deaths. Let's see. There's also lots of history of somewhere around Seguin, and I don't think that it was in New Braunfels, but somewhere in the vicinity of this town, there was a doctor who was doing illegal abortions. Mm. And so the Stagecoach stop at the Magnolia Hotel was one of the stops that the women had the chance to either think about it, or maybe like on their way back and the abortion didn't go so well. But they found a lot of suicides, like also there, or deaths from botched abortions, like that came into the hotel. So there's that.
That's
in the
a lot.
as well. It just keeps going on and on and on. So in the list of things I would like to show.
Okay.
Let's see. Right after finding the Magnolia down there, I talk about David's graduation and then finding the Magnolia. That picture is the front of the Magnolia, I believe.
Okay. Let's see. Yeah, it's not letting me share any of the pictures. It's only letting me share the videos.
Okay.
So for some reason, StreamYard has blocked my settings. And so it'll only let me share from the internet or share. Actually, let me try one more thing. I think we can do it here.
Sure.
If everyone will just bear with me. Facebook changes everything. And okay, so under the pictures here. So you said finding the Magnolia?
Yes.
Okay.
So everybody for a while had been talking about the Magnolia Hotel. My family, anyway. My mom's like, "You really need to go check it out," and it's right here in Seguin. And my folks have lived out in Seguin for almost 10 years, and every time I go to their house, I just kind of cruise straight through town and go to their ranch, and then it's far enough away where you really don't think about going and checking it out. But whenever I moved here, I decided I really needed to go check it out. So a friend of mine who had come to visit for that weekend came by, and we were like, let's go check it out. So we're standing in front of the hotel, and they have historical marker, and we're reading the historical marker, and directly behind is a window. And right when we got to the very end of the historical marker, it's in here, but I'm not sure that we'll be able to show you. I included a picture, but at the very end of the historical marker, it says, okay, there's the outside of the building.
Okay.
So you might be able to see the historical marker there. And
I'll
then
pull that up.
Yeah, there's some windows directly behind the historical marker. And at the very end of what they're saying, it says thousands of people have come into the Magnolia Hotel in all the many years, and some of them have never left. And right as I get to the end of that sentence, there is a bang up against the window, and the curtains move. Now, this is in the middle of the pandemic, and the place is shut down. There's no cars anywhere around it. The area around it is empty, and I couldn't find any cars anywhere. So, but that was startling. So we stepped back and kind of moved away from the house, and then boom, boom, 2 big bangs on the door. There you go. And then that window to the left is where that slamming happened. And then it happened twice on the front door.
Wow. So did you find out what actually happened in that room? Any history on it?
Well, she says that room is occupied by the first owner, and he goes and he checks the doors.
Okay.
That's what the owner, Erin, says, and she's an amazing woman. I've been working back and forth with her, and she's done a great job. Her and her husband, Jim Getty, the owners, are incredible. So we left after that banging happened, and then I was hooked. Like, I had to go home and look it up on the internet. I had to see the inside as much as I can. All the pictures that I could find over the Magnolia, I had to look for them and see when I could get in there. Like, I needed to go in there. At that point, I was hooked. And so the next morning we wake up, and I'm like, let's go have breakfast, and then we're going to roll by the Magnolia again, because last night there was no cars there, and that banging happened. And if there's no cars there now, then I know that there was nobody in the building. And so we roll by the Magnolia, and sitting outside the hotel is a full-length mirror propped up against a pole. Not sturdy at all. Like, the wind could come and knocked it over. It would shatter this mirror like all over the place. And I'm like, well, how ironic that it's me that I just happened to be here. There's this mirror, and there's still no cars anywhere. So this mirror appeared outside the building. And so I put it in my truck, and I immediately called my sister, and I was like, what do you know about haunted mirrors? And can I take it into my house? So I didn't bring it into my house, but I contacted the owner, and she's like, yeah, I was just there. I showed up. We're doing some decorating, and that mirror has been around for a long time, so I put it outside. And then we went to Home Depot and we left, and I just happened to get that mirror but still, that means that she wasn't there last night banging on the outside of the house.
Right.
So the mirror I eventually did bring into my house after saging it and talking to the owner and assuring me that we were okay. I brought it into my house, and then the first time we went to the Magnolia, I brought it back as like a trigger object. So, and I really think it's helped. I really think that it helped connect me with the hotel before the actual first time I walked in, because the evidence that I found is incredible. I can't explain it. Beginner's luck, maybe, but I don't know. So we can roll through the building's history.
Okay.
The first one's called Record Player.
Yep. I just Let's pull that up. You said it's called Record Player?
Yes.
Okay.
Nice. Can you hear me talk at the same time?
I can.
Okay, cool. So that was just like a little intro. Just kind of click through those real fast, and then down past those, I start getting into the actual evidence.
So, and those are all video?
Yes.
Okay.
The historical marker is a picture, so that one might not come up.
Okay.
Oh, actually, those look like they are all pictures.
They're all pictures?
Yeah, so just keep going through those.
Okay. I'll have to share them a different way here.
But we can go into personal experiences.
Let's see. I've got the building history here.
Okay.
Okay. Let's see. I think that one is a video file. Let's see here. You were showing pictures of. Let's see. I believe this.
Okay. This is a real quick video of going up the main stairs, getting up to the bed and breakfast part. The owners throughout the years. At one point, it turned into a private apartments. So there was only like 8 people or 8 different apartments in there at one time. But then in the 90s, the family that owned it wasn't sure. I think somebody had to die before they could sell it. For some reason, nobody was taking care of it, and nobody was there, and it kind of fell completely apart. Squatters would come in, and it turned into a drug house. For about 20 years, it turned into a drug house, and the cops would come by to take out the overdose victims. Like that. So we got like 20 years of that from like the 90s through about 2013, I think, was when the Gettys bought it and started to restore it. So this huge long line of history.
And a lot of different hauntings, sounds like.
Yeah. And some of my evidence, you can tell that they are older accents coming through. And then later on, you hear newer accents, and they even talk of drug talk stuff like coming through. So multiple layers going through. So here we get to the last picture of the Gettys coming up next. So let's go into if you go down, see personal experiences.
Okay.
Film intro, and then Ghost Hand is the next one.
Okay, we'll stop it.
Click on that one. I want to. They've got a lot of pictures from the Magnolia that they've taken.
And this is one of the videos.
That's a picture too. I apologize. Not gonna
that's fine.
To see pictures.
I can do the pictures. It's just like I said, I have to share them a little bit different. I have to share one from the Facebook Messenger from the Google Drive, and the other I have to share from what I downloaded. So it looks like, let's see, the next video. Next video is the front of the Magnolia.
We could play that.
Okay.
And I will look for the next one. So this is the front of the Magnolia.
Judging by the picture on the cover of the website, it's really doesn't look like it's changed very much. They just kind of updated the outside, but kept the structural integrity as it was.
Exactly. So let's go down to pink bathroom.
Okay.
Yeah, the pink bathroom is my favorite room. It's probably the most terrifying. That's why I like it so much. The very first is a disembodied voice that I found in the pink bathroom on the very first trip. The first time I was there, I did not have a spirit box. The next time I went back, I made sure that I did. But the first time I didn't. So I got some disembodied voices the first time. So that one underneath pink bathroom.
Let's see. Is that the one EVP Hi Dava? Is that it?
No. There should be pink bathroom history.
Pink bathroom history. I don't see one labeled pink bathroom history.
Okay.
But let's just pull it from this way. Okay. Let me find it here. There's the haunted history. Okay, pink bathroom history.
Yay.
Okay, yes, that one was called. I'm looking to see what you labeled them. Voice
it should
one.
be the very first one. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, when I downloaded them, it didn't save the. I mean, it has the name, but it didn't save where you had them categorized. All right.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. Okay. Voice one.
All right.
We can play it again.
Yeah, if there's any way we could turn it up maybe or play it again, because they're very quiet.
That's as loud as it will go.
Okay. Yeah, it's hard to hear, but there's a whimper in there in the back. Go to the next one. We'll just start going down the list, and I'll describe them as they come up.
Okay. Yeah, I could hear it really faintly on that. Okay, this one is called Orb 2.
Okay. Okay, let me set this one up.
Okay.
So there, if you can see that full-length mirror leaning up against the other mirror, the full-length mirror is the one that I found leaning up against the post outside the house. And this is when I brought it back in, and I saw pictures of where they had it before. So they I leaned it back right back where it was, put it right back in its place. There's a picture that they have taken in 2019, I believe, before I went, and they have an orb, light anomaly coming out from behind that mirror in front of the other mirror. And what's so weird is you can see the streak like go back behind the mirror. It's coming.
Oh, wow.
It's coming three-dimensional space, out from outside that mirror. So in this clip that we can play, this is what I found. I walked into the same room with the mirror propped up the same way.
Okay.
And go ahead, play it.
Yeah, you can see that kind of.
You might want to play it a few times, and you can start to see it. And it does. It comes out. Where'd it go? Play it again.
I'm gonna blow it up full screen here.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah. So it comes out. It's real quick. And it's at the very beginning, and it comes out and goes up, and it stays in between the parameters, and then goes and darts back in.
Yeah, I'll play that one more time. Yeah, you can see it on that right-hand side, looks like.
And that's exactly where they had the picture from the website, from their website. Go down to Salesman's Conference Room a little bit further down.
Okay.
What's also amazing about the Magnolia is they have claims of this is where this happened. So you'll hear, this is what you should see in this room. And they are 100% correct, which blows my mind. Like all the EVPs that we've gotten from the conference room were all men. And that was the Salesman's Conference Room. And they're all telling me your name. They're like, hi, I'm Gus. these names that men talking just kept coming back. There's one that says I'm from Austin. And then when you go into different rooms in the hotel, you hear voices of exactly what is claimed to be there. So that just blew my mind. So in the conference room, there should be some spirit box samples underneath the conference room?
This one is EVP David.
Okay. At the very, very beginning, you can hear them say my name as soon as I turn it on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then a little bit further down, we just roll through it.
Sure.
The second one is a picture, so that might not come up. But then there's one that's
10 or 12.
10 or 12. Deva asks, how many people are in here? Okay. And she gets a number. and she hears 12, and she says, you can hear her say 12. But then when you go back and you listen to it really intently with headphones, they say 10 or 12. And okay. the claim is that there are 13. But I think but I think that there are more, actually. But we can go ahead and roll that.
Okay.
Okay.
Play it again.
Play it again. You can hear the t of the T's coming through.
And you're using, looks like, what, an SB11 on that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, this is the second trip there because we had the spirit box at that time.
Gotcha.
And incredible. Incredible. I watched your podcast with Dr. Sumner talking about the spirit box and how at first you were kind of skeptical, but then like how it's amazing. The voices answer your questions.
Yeah, I mean, as far as like apps and stuff, I can understand why they answer the questions, but on the spirit boxes, it's just too ironic sometimes. And when you actually go in and look at the sound waves on it, I mean, there's no way that broadcast and sweeping through the stations that quick that you're going to get these full sentences like that.
Yeah, it blows my mind. And this is the first time I had ordered it, and it came in the mail like 2 days before we went. So I turned it on, made sure it was working, and then went to the Magnolia. There's another one. It's a gentleman, and he says cheers. And when you really listen to it, you can hear he has an accent. He's British.
Okay, we'll roll that now. It says my video is too short.
Huh. Okay. We'll just go down the list.
Okay. That's a weird. It says your video is too short.
That is weird.
Okay. So
the next one is from Austin. A gentleman in the conference room just comes up and he says he's from Austin. So this is Deva and I standing. We're actually in the murderer's room. Which is let's play that again, see if we can hear it before I just move on. From Austin. He says it just from Austin.
So we have a question here. Vicki Norris says, how large is it the square footage?
I would have to say the upstairs is probably 2,500 square feet. And so probably about the same on the first floor as well.
Okay.
But then there is a second part in the back that I think they still rent that part out. But the part that you rent as the bed and breakfast and that you stay there is half of the upstairs is completely restored. Excellent. It's a great bed and breakfast, but that side is just as haunted as the other side. the other side of the door is not restored. So half of the upstairs is the last time it was restored was probably in the 30s. Plasters falling off the walls. They did very little. They left it so that it is creepy as possible. and
I like that.
yeah, it's great. It's amazing.
So as far as the pink bathroom, and you may have said, and I just missed that. So you said as far as in the salesman's room, you'll typically get those type of salesman responses. What did you say? What had happened in the pink bathroom?
The pink bathroom, the person that they say that occupies the bathroom now was a woman who died waiting for her love. They were supposed to get married, and he never showed up. She stayed at the hotel for weeks until she just died, didn't eat anything, and they found her in the bathtub. But also in that bathtub is where they found a lot of the abortion women who are, they like to slit their wrists in the bathtubs, so, old clawfoot bathtubs. They found a lot of. There was one story that of a woman who had died there, I believe in that bathroom, that they couldn't find any identification. They didn't know who she was. They didn't know what to do with the body, and so they just wrapped it up and put it in the attic for a couple of weeks until they found the owner. The parents came and picked her up. But another creepy story.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. I'm going to pull a couple more of these EVPs.
Yeah.
Let's see. This one is EVP Gus.
Yeah. Another man comes up and says his name is, I think, Gus Albino, something in Spanish. And so I was trying to figure out what it was in English for a long time. And then I was like, wait, that's not even English.
Gotcha. We'll play that now.
What's your name?
And he says it, Gus Albano. And he's like, wants you to understand it.
Yeah. We'll play that one more time.
What's your name?
Wow.
There's another one I think is pretty compelling. I think it says, let the man speak. And Deva had just asked a few questions, and then he came through and was telling Deva that either the man or he was telling another spirit that the men should talk.
Is that the sit down?
Oh, no, but we can listen to that one. That one's creepy.
Okay.
I go into the kitchen. And put the recorder on the table, and then you hear a voice tell me to sit down. And
okay,
sit down.
Wow. Wow.
So yeah, that was pretty crazy. What's
here.
Next?
I'm looking to see if I see that one, but I'm not seeing take your ball outside.
Okay, let's listen to that one.
Okay.
They're just so situational. What's going on is completely responding to what I'm doing. So in this one, you can see that I'm kicking a ball around, and then this woman's voice says, take your balls outside.
Wow. Okay.
So you might
that's clearly a woman. Yeah, we'll play that again here. I mean, it's very intelligent as far as the response. Intelligent and can see what's going on. Play that one more time, because it sounds really clear.
It blew my mind. So what happened in this room, a woman had, a few things happened in this room. The biggest story is that back room is Itzy's little girl who died of yellow fever. Her mom knew she was sick, but had to go out to work, thought she'd be okay by the time she got back, but she didn't. She died in that back room before she was able to get back. So Itsy, sometimes people will walk in that room and start singing the Itsy Bitsy Spider for no reason, that song, and they think it just kind of like works in there somehow. So we heard a little girl There's earlier you said you saw Hi Deva.
Yes.
Let's do that because
Okay.
that one's pretty amazing. We're standing in the murderer's room, and I should tell that story too. Why it's the murderer's room.
I'll go ahead and play it, and then
Yeah.
you can tell us the story of why it's the murderer's room.
Hello.
Wow.
So first you hear it say hello, and you see us react. We're like, hey, it said hello. And then you hear it say, hi, Deva, and that's my daughter's name. And I kind of talk over it a little bit because I'm amazed. I'm like, hello, talking back to it, but that's what it says. It straight up says, hello, Deva. And this is the second time we've been there. So
I'll
it knows
play that
this.
again.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hello.
Wow. That is so clear.
Yeah, and it just knows our name. So that's one that I think is Emma. And from the murderer's room, there was a man who was cheating on his wife, and he wanted to have an alibi so he could go and kill her so that he could be with his mistress. And I think the mistress was his wife's sister. So he really needed to get rid of her. So he set up a room in the hotel, said he was going to be there while his wife was living in New Braunfels and staying with some relatives. He steals the horse of the owner of the hotel and rides the horse 2.5 hours to New Braunfels to axe his wife with this axe. Well, the wife and Emma, her cousin or her little niece or something, had switched places in the bed. So he hits little Emma. She's like 8 years old, kills her with the first blow of the axe, looks down, and on the floor is his wife. And she's like, what's going on? So he hits her once and blinds her, I guess, just like hits her right in the temple with the axe or something, and then runs off, rides the horse 2.5 hours back, and then gets back into his hotel room and tries to just like wait till the heat's off, you know. Well, the cops show up in the morning, and the owner is like, why is my horse all sweaty? Like, where's his alibi was horrible. It didn't work. So he got arrested, and they ended up I think he was shot in the jail cell before he even made it to trial. Like, part of the family of the young child who was killed just came and killed him. So
Wow.
they say that energy, that fear, all of the stuff that was going on in that room is still there. And so I believe that was Emma. Emma shows up in the house, according to a lot of psychics, including the owner that's been there. And so I think that in that room, it must have been Emma that said hello. And she's a younger girl.
And that makes sense. I mean, because you can only imagine that whenever, you know, they're in there, they're the build up to what he's about to do, and then goes and does it, and just the intensity and the emotion that must have been felt in that room. That makes a lot of sense to me as to why that would.
And it's all documented. Aaron, the owner, has done amazing work of finding the history and printing them out on plaques, so you can see and read right there while you're in the room what it's known for. So let's go on to another room. Let's
see.
Wait, here we go.
Let's see. I've got the next one I have is taking a ride.
Okay, that's a good EVP. We can listen to that. This one I caught in also in Itzy's room, and I think it came from the drug era.
Okay.
So it's a female's voice, and it sounds just like a 70s hippie girl. She's like, hey, I'm gonna take a ride. Let's go take a ride. And it was out of place at first, but then I listened to it so much, and then it was like, it had to be like from the hippie times.
Yeah.
And it's so long, like an entire sentence, going over the top of all of those sweeps. Okay, it looks like we're running kind of out of time. So I want to get to the video's little bit shadows. Do you see that further down?
Let's see.
It's one of the very last ones.
I see tub orb.
It's the one right above tub orb. Yeah.
Rose couch combo.
Yes, that's the one. Okay,
right.
This blew my mind. I had to watch it over and over and over again. And so what you're going to see is I set the clip up to show you what I saw before I saw what I think I saw, to show you that it was not there. And then I'll show you later on. So it's pretty incredible. So these are the couches. Long still shot of the couches. And I walk further in the room. So now I'm a little bit further into the room. And then I walk a little bit further into the room and I swing back right. And right in the middle, as I'm swinging, I did not notice this at first. But sitting in the couch, sitting right there in the couch, is this black mass that it was not there. There's a better shot of it. It was not there when I first, it's like blocking the other couch. And it's, so.
I'm going to play that again if that's, and we're good on time. So, we don't have, I try to keep them about an hour, but we go over, and I talked a few minutes beforehand. So I'm going to play that again. Yeah, there's clearly nothing there. And it wouldn't have been the high side of the couch either.
Right. The top, like what looks like the head and is wearing a hat of some kind, is way above the couch.
Yeah. It almost looks like a plague doctor mask.
Oh, I didn't even think of that.
This is what that looks like.
It's got like a bill.
Yeah.
So the timestamp is wrong. So yeah.
Wow.
I sent this to the owner, and she immediately put it on her website. She's like, "Oh wow, this is great!" And she said, "Oh, it's Little Bit." And she said it is one of the women who used to work there, and she wore big hats. There was in the about mid 1800s, the back part of the second floor was used as a brothel, and Pink Rosebud stayed in that room, and kind of like the women would hang out in that room. But then Itzy's bedroom, which is attached to that, is kind of where the prostitutes would go.
You can almost in this one see, like, if they have the big hat with the big bill in the front, you can almost see a lady's face, like a side profile almost, with the hat.
Right.
At least with it frozen right there. Yeah. That's wild.
What blows my mind too is you can almost kind of see the back of the couch. Like the hump that goes to the back of the couch, but it's through that dark shape that's there.
Wow. That's a great catch. That one gives me chills. But that one, I mean, it's
I thought I was going crazy. I really thought I was going crazy for a little bit, because I'd watch it and I'm like, is that real? Like, am I really seeing that? And then, that's what it is.
Wow.
So Another thing. Oh, let's do the turbo orb, or
Okay.
the tub orb. I call it all kinds of things. That's my sister, Melissa. Hi.
Yeah, and looks like David's in here.
There, hi, Dava.
Awesome. Thank you all so much, everyone, for joining. We've got a lot of different comments. Ball looks like it was moving, and Shadow Man on the couch. So
Oh, I didn't even notice the ball down there.
yeah, when there's a big shadow mass there, it's easy to miss. Let's see here.
So the tub orb, there's
Okay.
a bathroom that's in the hallway that I guess was kind of like a communal bathroom. It wasn't attached to any of the bedrooms or anything. And for some reason, I always felt like I didn't want to go in there. Like I never actually went all the way in. Like I stuck my head in when I took this picture and then or took the video, and I pulled back. And it's during the day. So it's not like the light going through a dust particle. I know there's like orbs are questionable, and I question them a lot too. Like, that's dust. It's not really. But this thing acts weird. This thing acts like I've never seen before. It comes out of the bathtub and comes straight at me. And then once it gets out of the bathtub, it cuts back and like cuts in front of me. It's bizarre.
It says it's too short.
It's too short. That's so weird.
It's so weird. I wonder how short they have to be. But you'll have all of these in your documentary, correct?
Absolutely, yeah. All this and much more. Can we do one more?
Yes, we can.
Because I think this one will actually be the last thing. So I play in a band, and out at the Renaissance Fair, and right after we went to the Magnolia the first time, I didn't even download any of the stuff from my audio recorder. Just went straight to practice on Saturday morning with the Renaissance Fair, and I was going to record the practice. And so there's one called Odd Cash. I think it's probably the links that I sent you with Facebook and Yahoo. It's the very first one.
Okay.
In that grouping. And
let's see how it will do it. I may have to do it through, because it's not a video, right? It's just a sound.
Right, it's audio.
Let's see.
But I'll kind of tell you about it.
We'll see if we can play this way. I'm gonna try share screen. Okay, I think I've got to share audio with it.
Okay.
All right. Are you ready?
Yeah, let me set it up a little bit. Okay. So what you'll hear is the beginning of my band trying to start the song. So you hear like a little bit of instruments starting and some people talking, but then you'll hear this tap, 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 like the song's about to start, like they're keying it off. And when that happens, every time musicians do that, everybody else just kind of is quiet, like waiting for the song to start, like we're not making any noise. But then there's this boom, 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 huge explosion sounds going off, and this is a free air microphone. It's just sat on the stage in front of us playing, and if that had been actual noises in the real world, we would have stopped. Like, we didn't hear it happening while we were practicing. But then when I went back and I downloaded all the audio files off of this recorder, this is weird. and you know how they say sometimes things will just like linger and you'll hear them later on, and I think it was still like in my audio recorder and just showed up, but it's weird.
Okay, we'll play that now.
Okay, go back to the very beginning.
Okay.
I think.
Let me find my screen here. Whoops. Okay. Start it.
Yeah, you should hear tapping.
Right there.
Yeah. So you hear that?
Yeah.
That was not happening when we were practicing.
That's odd.
Yeah, and if you listen to it at the very end, it resonates out, like that last explosion kind of like resonates out, and it almost growls. It goes.
Okay. All right, we'll listen to it through.
Oh, you have to go back to the very beginning. There we go. It starts to resonate at the end and like stretch out and go.
Yeah.
That's not any of us. That was nobody in the band.
Wow.
I don't know where that noise came from.
Huh. Very cool.
Yeah, but like I said, I had not downloaded anything from that audio recorder from the first visit to the Magnolia, and I think that was just left over in the recorder somehow.
Which I guess could kind of be sort of like residual haunting in a way.
Yeah, some kind of noise. I know that from like early years of paranormal research, when they had tapes, reel-to-reel tapes, sometimes they would pick up stuff on the reverse side of the tapes. Like it would just show up in weird places, and maybe that
maybe like it's imprinting or something.
Yeah. I don't know. That was the very first thing that I recorded after all the EVPs from going to the Magnolia.
So when is your documentary slated to come out?
About a month. It should be done. I got everything in chunks, like all of the important evidence that I found, kind of put together, and then now I just need to put the chunks together and overlay everything. And,
nice.
I'm excited. I'm super excited.
So the best place for people to watch this, what we'll do let me know when this officially comes out, and we'll share that and let everyone know. And hopefully everyone will go. I'm going to have your information in the show notes and everything so that they can go and find your pages, like and subscribe. But where's the best place that they're going to be able to watch this at?
I'll put it on Facebook. On my Facebook page. I just recently last night actually got a page called Paranormal Places and Spooky Spaces. So if you just search Spooky Spaces, David Flowers, you'll find it. And also my YouTube channel is out there as well. And so I'll post it up there both. The teaser is the only thing on my YouTube channel right now. I got 1 minute video, but
hey, you got to start somewhere.
Yeah, I'm excited.
And that takes a lot of time to put these together, to do the research, take the trip to the location, do the investigation, and then just going through all the footage and everything. And it sounds like, you go through too as well, like with your video and stuff, of trying to recreate and, debunk, if you will. So, I mean, that stuff takes time, and then doing the self-production of it as well.
Right. And I'm teaching myself as we go. I'm teaching myself how to do it. So, but it should be out in about a month, I would say.
Okay. All right. And so if other people want to go and investigate this location, what's the best way that they can go do that?
The haunted Magnolia Hotel in Seguin, Texas. Book them early because they are 2 to 3 months out. They only have one bed and breakfast visit per week, I believe. So they book up pretty quick. But it's amazing. It's a great location. It's real comfortable in the bed and breakfast side. But we had experiences there too. As soon as we got there and we kicked off our shoes, we started hearing someone stomping all around the inside. And I looked over at Dava, and she's in her socks on the carpet. And I'm like, what's all that racket? She's like, I thought that was you. I'm like, oh.
So if you stay at the bed and breakfast, are you able to go in and investigate, or do they do investigations even when the bed and breakfast is full?
When you rent the bed and breakfast, you rent the entire upstairs portion.
Okay.
So nobody is there when you're there, and you can go and investigate in the dark. There's no power. I did an EVP sweep when I first got there, and nothing. And there's no in the unrestored portion of it. But then you come back to the bed and breakfast part. There's all the amenities, electricity and air conditioning, and
which is nice in Texas.
yes, yeah, absolutely.
Well, I know it's been great to talk to you about this location, and I know you've sent me some of your videos here in the past when you were investigating and stuff, and I appreciate you sharing that with me.
Thank
I
you.
know to see this location highlighted on some of the TV shows, because I know quite a few different shows have been there. Ghost Adventures, Ghost Hunters. I don't know. There was a whole big list.
There is Nick Roth was there. Like there's been quite a few, and what's crazy too is that the things that they experienced were spot on, like what I experienced too. There's a bang that happens, or like it's coming from downstairs somewhere. I'm like, yeah, I heard that too. Like, and the place where they just stop and they're like, this is the epicenter. Like that's the place that gave me the worst chills. Like, it doesn't disappoint. The Magnolia, it does not disappoint.
Well, and that's what's so cool about it, is the fact of being able, seeing it on these TV shows, I don't think even does it justice, but being able to sit here and talk to someone that's investigated it and said, this is legit stuff. This is what I was experiencing as well. That's very cool.
Yeah.
And
it was a eye-opening experience for me too. It was like one of the very first times where it confirmed a lot of things that I was seeing. It was like, yeah.
So what's your favorite location to investigate?
My favorite location, the ones in New Orleans are always historic, and it's so old, and from where I grew up, it feels like you're going home to New Orleans, even though it wasn't my home.
Right, that makes sense.
Yeah, all the French Quarter district, all through there. The ghost tour that goes through the French Quarter is probably, I almost know it by heart. Like, I love it.
Yeah, there's no place like New Orleans. I know. I was there, I think 4 years ago. 3 years ago, I was there, and it was just so much fun. I was there for about 5 days, and I could have spent probably 5 weeks there, and just going in. I went to the Rampart Street murder house, and
oh yeah, wow.
That was a weird one.
that's one that I want to. And I've done a lot of old historic homes, but like new haunts, new things happening in New Orleans. I bet it was terrifying.
It was, and they have the actual stove where he cooked Addie's body, and
right.
they have the actual fridge there as well. And then downstairs in Bloody Mary's Voodoo Museum, they've got the eyes from the stove in there, the actual metal eyes in there. And so that place, I can't even describe what the energy and the feelings felt like from inside there, because it was wild. Unlike anything other. And Bloody Mary's son, Jagger, was the one. It was myself and another lady that was there, and he was the one that gave us the tour of it. And, to go in there and kind of put yourself in the feeling of the way they must have felt right after Hurricane Katrina, and just,
I mean, it's
very small. Yeah. It was very small. And with the drinking and the drugs and the volatile temper and all of that, it is just wild. I'm looking here at the comments, and Julian, I need to actually do a whole show just on that location. He actually cooked. If you look up the Rampart Street murder house, and I'll do a show on this one. He killed his girlfriend, dismembered her, and cooked the body. But what's interesting about that is they say he didn't cook it to eat or anything like that. It was to kind of hide the evidence, I believe. But after like 10 days, when the cops came, it was still...
He was hearing voices too, right? There was somebody at something in the house telling him to do it.
Yeah, they did say that that was... that was part of it. But I know they said that with their relationship, she had sort of, when she would drink, and there was a lot of drugs involved, but when she would drink, she would kind of bully him. He was an ex-vet. He had PTSD real bad.
That's right.
And yeah. And so between all of that, and they say that there were voices from inside the location. For me, I'm very curious about, is the location haunted because of the activity? But I mean, and two, the old voodoo, what's the word I'm looking for? The voodoo church or whatever used to be right below when they lived there. Now it's Bloody Mary's shop, but and they've reversed the bottom. They've got her seance room and all of that area on one side, and then on the other side she's got her shop. But directly underneath was the voodoo church there, and so there's no doubt
the building is open portal. Causing craziness over there.
Exactly. We have a question here from Vicky for you. She said, what was your favorite archaeology spot?
We went to field school in close to Guatemala in Belize. So Tikal was amazing. We dug at a place called it's called the Cricket Mountain, and that place was spiritual. We were there during a full moon ceremony that the native Mayan would come in, so we had to leave for that night. They came and did a huge ceremony under the full moon, and then we came back the next day. But I buried a bunch of stones and a bunch of necklaces and a bunch of crystals up in the plaza where they had the ceremony, and so the next day I dug them all out and had these like energized crystals from a Mayan ceremony, and so that was pretty awesome.
That's cool.
But to answer the question, I guess Tikal was probably the biggest amazing site. Incredible.
That's wild, and with your background, that just adds, to your, I think, your paranormal experiences and your the way you experience and analyze your data as well.
Spirit in all different kinds of forms has been part of growing up. Native American shamanism plays in there and a part of it, and just from all different angles, really.
Well, that is very cool. Well, I will have to have you come back on and talk about some of that, because that's just interesting in and of itself. So whole other thing to talk about. Absolutely. Well, I really appreciate you coming on tonight and sharing. I've been looking forward.
Thank you, Miranda.
Absolutely, and we're looking forward to when your documentary comes out, and I think it's going to be great.
I hope so. I've had a lot of fun doing it, and going into it not expecting to find any kind of evidence at all, and then having months of evidence to comb through is just overwhelming. But it's been a fun ride for sure. It's great.
Are you going back anytime soon?
I have some friends who wanted to go, and I'm like, if you guys go, I'll split it with you, and we're going to go. So possibly during the summer, we're going to try and go back. But I kind of want to go the other direction in Texas. It's called Goliad. The Presidio had a battle that happened. It's like Gettysburg for Texas. Like the war happened like right in front of it. There was a mission where people kind of hid out and tried to hide, but they all got killed anyway. So I'm looking forward to going to that place.
Awesome. Well, let's see. Janet asked where we can see your documentary. I'm going to put this in the show notes. Thank you so much for asking.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, so we'll get all of that updated. And if you tuned in late, we're actually going to be re-airing this on YouTube just after, and this will also re-air on Saturday night on the local Cleveland and Chattanooga television station Mix 104.1. It's mymix104.1.com. So we'll have all of that information in the show notes. Again, thank you, David. Thank you, everyone, so much. Yes, thank you Thank you, everyone, so much for your questions, your comments, and bearing with me through the technical difficulties. But I do want to take a few minutes to mention again that we do have a really cool ride coming up this Saturday here in East Tennessee. I'm going to be taking a group of people on the very haunted and very historic Devil's Triangle, and we'll be going past Brushy Mountain Prison, going up the Cumberland Plateau into Morgan County to the historic R.M. Brooks General Store. And all the details for that ride is on the Haunting Ride with Ghost Biker event page. It is a bike-only event. We're hoping to get 10 bikes for the ride to make, and looks like at this point we do have that we're going to have a good crowd. And all of this will end at the 3rd annual R.M. Brooks bike event. And we've got videos from that. Last year I did a haunting ride, and I did through Northeast Tennessee up into Kentucky and down. Again, this year we're taking it from the southern route, and we'll have a lot of information on that as well. So come on out, meet up with some bikers, listen to some great music. And the bike event is not bikes only. Other people can come to the actual bike event. So come on out, have one of Tennessee's voted best bologna sandwiches, and listen to some live music, meet some bikers, and I'm going to be having a meet and greet as well. So we've got that information on there, and we're going to try the services a little iffy in those areas. We may end up going live. Also, just want to say the Litas Female Motorcycle Club are going to be there at the event. The ones from North Alabama, I think the Birmingham, Huntsville, maybe even some from Middle Tennessee, they're doing their actual one of their summer events and going to be camping out there and coming to the bike event. So we'll be talking to them and then some of the other bikers that'll be there. So again, until then, if I don't see you on Saturday, I will see you guys again on next Thursday night, when my special guest is going to be she is actually from the Salem area, and she's an author and works at the Witch's House. So she's going to be on next week, Judith Sterling, and we'll see you guys then. So thanks a lot, everyone, and have a great night.
Miranda.